Hey everyone, it's Jacqueline for Pixie Dust PhD. Today is December 10th, 2020, so the channel is now 10 months old. In this month's monthly creator update, we're going to talk just really briefly about some equipment stuff. I know we talked a lot about that last month, and I've touched on it a lot over the series in general. I do have a little brief update. We're going to spend most of the time talking about the holidays. Normally, the subjects I bring up in these monthly creator updates are very directly related to YouTube or Disney or the Disney community, etc. This is only very tangentially related, but I get to choose what we talk about on these monthly creator updates, and I want to talk about this month. And then, of course, we'll go over the month 10 analytics as well as the lifetime analytics for the channel. If any of that sounds interesting to you, I hope you stay tuned. And in particular, for my regular viewers, I really want to hear about your holidays and your traditions. First, thanks so much for being here. I know I say that in a lot of the videos, but I really genuinely do mean it, especially for those of you who tune into these monthly creator updates. This series is way more about me and my personality. They're unscripted, so it's a very different feel from the normal information-packed videos. I assume you're watching these in order to get to know me a little better, which is super awesome, but also I think hopefully maybe if you're a small YouTuber yourself or thinking about becoming one, that the analytics tracking at the end of all these videos is helpful for you. In sum, I just want to say I really do appreciate that you're here. First, we'll just do a very quick equipment update. In my most recent video, the DVC Beach Club's Fast Fact video, my camera really did not want to focus at all ever. The whole thing is just a little blurry, a little bit out of focus. I continue to be annoyed by this. I know we spent most of the last month's monthly creator update talking about cameras and stuff, so I probably am going to buy a new point and shoot camera that does focus on that 30 to 40x optical zoom over like a vlogging style camera. I checked prices over Black Friday and Cyber Monday, hoping one of the cameras that I'm looking at would have a sale. That did not end up being the case. I might hold out for a little longer just to see if there are any end of year sales, but I'm guessing I'm going to end up paying the $400-ish to buy one of these new cameras sometime soon. I'm 99% sure that I would be buying a new point and shoot camera before our next vacation, whenever that is. Hopefully this summer, if not, hopefully this fall. It really does depend on the public health situation. So it is going to be $400 spent, which is, not a small amount of money, but I would be spending that money anyway sometime, hopefully in the near future. So I don't feel too bad about pushing the timeline up to do it sooner rather than later, even though it is very for the vlog. I know I don't need a new camera for the vlog, but if I want a new camera in general, I really don't see the harm in just buying one now. So probably not the next few videos, because once I get it, especially if I get the Panasonic, which I've not had before, I'll have to learn how to use it and all the settings, etc. But hopefully soon in January or February, the video quality for the videos that I take not on the webcam will be much, much higher. In other equipment news, I am filming this on the webcam, and I decided to buy a pop-up chroma key green/blue collapsible green screen. So I'm sitting in front of a giant green screen right now. It's hanging from my ceiling. I absolutely did not need this purchase, and I can't really justify it for anything other than the vlog. We'll call that an incidental expense. Through software like Zoom, where you can do the video capture and the audio capture, you can add a virtual background, but I really hate the margins. It's absolutely better than nothing, but it's not a very clean look. Recently, I've done more videos where I'm filming on the webcam, and that's because I feel like it is so helpful for you to see my computer screen. For example, the DVC member portal video, which was actually my best performing video this month, I recorded on the webcam and then recorded my screen and sort of just put the two together. This would be much harder for me to do if I was filming on my actual camera. Although now that I own a giant green screen, I guess I could. But since my face is small and just in the corner, I feel like the webcam quality is probably good enough. I do want to continue to do more videos in this style where I'm filming on the webcam and just putting my face in the bottom left-hand corner, probably small, and you're mostly seeing slides or a screen. This format makes so much more sense to me when it comes to things like explaining my trip planning process. I can, of course, do that out loud, and there still will be audio, but having the visuals to go with it, I think will be really helpful. Similarly, I'm hoping to do some more math-intensive videos in the future. I'm not sure when, because they do take quite a lot of prep to get down. But an example of that would be the annual dues video I did a very long time ago. I did film the video and audio portion on my normal point and shoot camera, and then I took screen recordings and sort of pasted them together. However, in that video, I had to cut back and forth between me explaining things and you seeing the screen. There's nothing wrong with that, but I just think I prefer the style where I'm able to keep my little floating head on the screen the whole time so you can see me talking instead of only hearing a disembodied voice over like a PowerPoint slide. If you have any preference for the style of video, definitely let me know in the comments down below. I will always take your feedback into consideration. Moving on to the main topic for this monthly creator update, and that is going to be holiday traditions. I said earlier this was tangentially related to YouTube and Twitter and the Disney community, etc., and I'll fill you in now. I recently recorded a guest spot on a podcast. I don't think it will be released before this video goes out, so I'm not going to say too much because we talked about a lot and I don't know what they're going to cut. But in preparing for that podcast, I prepared sort of what I do around the holidays and my holiday traditions. We did not end up getting to that, but I got really excited about the thought of sharing that with everyone, so I'm just going to use this platform to do it instead. I don't actually have very many holiday traditions, and before anybody roasts me about that, I want to give some background as to why. So first, my family is very small. Both of my parents are only children, so I don't have aunts, uncles, or first cousins at all. This means that holidays were small gatherings is basically just, the immediate family, which didn't make it too different than any other normal day. Second, my dad is a pilot. There are a lot of industries in the world where it's not guaranteed that you're going to get holidays off, and that's definitely true for pilots. My parents and my dad made a pretty good effort, especially around Christmas, to make sure that he was home for at least a little part of it, whether that was Christmas Eve night, Christmas morning, Christmas night, something like that. So when we were kids, they really did emphasize it. But as we grew up, obviously, you just kind of take the shifts that you take. As I grew older, for a lot of really valid reasons, I'm really not very close with my family anymore, especially my parents. I do live with my partner and we've been together for a relatively long time, so we sort of have our own traditions now. That being said, my partner was born and raised Jewish. They aren't super active in the Jewish community anymore, but obviously they did not grow up with Christmas, so it's not like they had strong traditions to bring into this. So as we've created our own little family unit, we do have some things that we've done. First, for Hanukkah, I try really hard to make sure that my partner has one gift for every night of Hanukkah. Sometimes this means that the first couple of nights, the gifts are a little bit lame, like socks, but hey, I think it's fun for my partner to be able to open up at least one gift every night. A thing we've done for several years now is we pretty much always make a rib roast for Christmas. It is an expensive cut of meat and it takes a long time to prepare, but it is absolutely delicious. And this is pretty much the only time of year we ever do this. We end up watching certain things around the holidays. I wouldn't say there's hard and fast rules. It's not like I have a list of, oh, we must watch XYZ things in December, but it definitely just ends up happening. Some of those things are the movie Elf, Nightmare Before Christmas. We almost always end up watching at least once between October and December, if not twice. I really love the Prep and Landing short. And then also since 2017, I really love Olaf's Frozen Adventure. That's the one where Olaf goes around Arendelle to find folks various holiday traditions, since Anna and Elsa feel like they don't have any. The song at the end of that, when we're together, is constantly in loop in my brain all the time, but especially around the holidays. The last real tradition I had is something that I have continued from my childhood. Growing up, we would put out cinnamon rolls and coffee for Santa. My parents used to always just tell us, hey, don't you think that Santa is tired of milk and cookies? And look, I was raised to respect authority and not question it, so I did not question that for a very long time. It wasn't until probably college, I want to say, when we were sharing holiday traditions that I thought back and I was like, hey, Santa doesn't like cinnamon rolls and coffee. My parents like cinnamon rolls and coffee. But I still think it's a really fun thing. I actually don't drink coffee hardly ever, but I do love a good cinnamon roll. Growing up, we would always get Cinnabon from the mall, and that was something that my partner and I were able to do pretty easily when we lived in North Carolina. Since we moved to the DC area, there's a lot less chains like Dairy Queen and Cinnabon, etc., easily accessible to us, so we've had to be a little bit more creative. It's definitely more difficult for me to get my hands on a cinnamon roll on Christmas Eve specifically living here, but it's totally worth the adventure. This year, we are pre-ordering a frozen pack of 4 cinnamon rolls from a local donut shop, and we're going to go pick that up the week before Christmas, and then I will just thaw them out and prep them and have them ready for Christmas Eve. So that's basically the extent of our holiday traditions. We do not really put up a tree ever. We just don't have space for one to be out or to store one. We don't really decorate. Similarly, I don't have really any seasonal decorations for space constraints. We don't go caroling. There's not a specific movie that we have to watch on Christmas Eve or Christmas Day, etc. This year, I am very excited to see Soul, and I do think we will end up watching that on Christmas Day, but I doubt that in years forward, we will continue to always watch Soul on Christmas Day, but we'll see, who knows. So that's a little bit about me. I would love to hear about your holiday traditions in the comments down below. Let's move on to the stats. The month 10 analytics overall, I saw a pretty big drop. Last month, I was anticipating to see a pretty huge drop because I switched from putting videos up every 4 days to putting videos up only once a week. I was very pleasantly surprised last month with the numbers and that I really didn't see a drop at all. However, it seems that maybe the drop was just delayed and they all came this month. I know the holiday season is also super busy time of year for people. So in general, I've spoken with some other creators and they always say they see a dip in their numbers in the November, December timeframe. But let's go over the numbers. These stats were pulled from November 11th to December 9th. This is one day short of what I would consider the full month that I try to do for these updates, but today is when I had time to film, so that's what it is. In month 10, we got 844 views from 419 unique viewers. This resulted in a little under 86 hours of watch time. The average view duration was up, which is nice, at slightly over 6 minutes. However, the average view percentage was down a little bit at slightly under 43%. I'm not terribly surprised by this because I did put out some longer videos this month. I got around 12,700 total impressions, with just over 18% being from YouTube recommending my content. 62% of the total watch time was from those not subscribed to the channel, but we did get 18 new subscribers this month. So overall, there's a dip in almost every category if you compare the month 10 stats to the month 9 stats. In fact, a lot of these stats look closer to our month 6 stats. Views, unique viewers, impressions, and a few other categories went down quite a bit compared to month 9. But as I've said before on this channel, I try not to dwell on the numbers. It kind of is what it is. I am proud of the content that I put out this month, so whatever. The way I choose to look at things is most of the videos I put out are pretty information heavy. I understand that that's not entertaining content. However, when folks are deciding to plan a trip to Walt Disney World or are starting to look into Disney Vacation Club, the videos will be there. I'm not planning on deleting them anytime soon or forever, hopefully, and for the most part, the information is going to stay relevant. Of course, there will be slight changes to the information over time. This will be especially true, I think, for the Disney Vacation Club information because I do state things like the current purchase price directly through Disney, roughly what it's like on the resale market, current annual dues. Obviously, year over year, those are going to change. But generally speaking, I think a lot of the information in the videos is going to be valid for a really long time. So while it is a bummer when I put out videos that do poorly individually or overall for the month, at the same time, I know that these could last years and years. Mostly I want to help people, and I think this could be helpful in the future for folks. For example, the use year video I put out, which I put out in early April of 2020, so it's been quite a long time, still gets a decent amount of views every month. I think people are confused about use year, and I think my video does a pretty good job explaining it. Overall, stats really weren't very great this month, and of course I am disappointed. If we're being very honest, no one starts a YouTube channel to fail. But again, I try not to let this reflect on my self-worth, and I do think that there is a longevity to the content that I'm putting out. Moving on to lifetime stats for the channel. As a whole, the channel is almost at 7,000 total views with just under 640 total watch hours. Lifetime average view duration did increase a few seconds. We're now almost at 5.5 minutes. And the average view percentage is about the same, hovering around 45.5%. There's 87,000 total impressions on the channel, with 19% coming from YouTube recommending my content. 65% of the total watch time on the channel is coming from those who are not subscribed. But we do have 202 total subscribers now, so we broke the 200 mark this month. The subscriber count was actually incredibly static for quite a long time this month. There were several weeks where I was just hovering around 185 to 187. While I try not to focus on numbers, I obviously do notice patterns. When it seemed like this wasn't going to change, I put a tweet out over on my Twitter at PixieDustPhD just saying, hey, I try not to focus on numbers, but I have noticed that no one new is subscribing to the channel. If you have time to check out my videos, here's some that I'm really proud of. And that seemed to really help spike the subscriber count. So thanks to all of the lovely folks over on Twitter. And over on Twitter, I have 613 followers and I am following 607 accounts. This also hasn't changed much in a few months. I think that's probably because I'm not actively following a ton of people. I feel like 600 accounts is a really nice amount for me to be able to scroll the timeline, know what's going on, and still interact with people and grow those one-on-one connections. I'm not interested in just mass following people to try to get followers back. I don't know, that feels disingenuous to me personally. Then over on Instagram, I have 125 followers and I am following 230 accounts. I'm still bad at Instagram. I think this is just my tagline for the rest of my life. Like last month, I think the stat I would like to see change the most are the impressions coming from YouTube. So this is either YouTube putting my channel on your homepage or putting my channel in like your watch next list when you're watching other people's videos. Getting on the homepage is a really big deal. It tends to be how you get new viewers who hopefully you can turn into new subscribers. Again, this is kind of all just about tricking the YouTube algorithm though. I really don't have a lot of control over that, unfortunately. I've been hovering around 19% impressions from YouTube for a few months now. If I find some spare time this holiday season, I might do some more reading into how I can get recommended by YouTube more often, but it does seem like you are trying to play a game with an algorithm, and I'm not sure I'm really interested in doing that. Overall, I think I'm just going to keep plucking away, doing what I'm doing, trying to take feedback from the viewers and see how it goes. Overall, the stats for the channel for this month did not grow quite like they have in previous months. However, I'm still pleased and I'm still getting really great interaction in the comments from some of the loyal viewers, and I do appreciate it. Before this gets too long, let's go ahead and wrap it up. That's basically all I wanted to talk about. Definitely let me know in the comments down below your thoughts about the video styles in terms of me filming on the webcam like this. I also really want to hear about your holiday traditions. If you've made it this far in the video, if you could please give it a thumbs up to like the video to help me game that YouTube algorithm, I would really appreciate it. And if you're not yet subscribed, please do consider subscribing to the channel. You can ring that bell icon for notifications for whenever I post new videos. If you want to interact outside of YouTube, you can of course find me on Twitter and Instagram at PixieDustPhD. The next video coming up on the channel focuses on the room sizes of the various DVC villas located at Walt Disney World. I think it should be a fun one. I hope the rest of your day is awesome and you have a totally magical holiday season. Definitely stay safe and healthy. We'll see you real soon at Pixie Dust PhD.